Hi everyone, we're back with another naturopathic conversation that we've been recording with our lovely team here at New Leaf. We've got the wonderful Jacinta back on the chat today. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Hannah.
We meet in clinic meetings all the time and we talk about the work we do and we talk about stuff and then we go, God, we should record that. So let's record the conversation that we always have about how we can help our people best. And I love this topic today, Jack. I think this is going to be a fabulous inspiration for people. Something close to your heart, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So today we're going to do like the five most important things that your fertility naturopath wants you to know about your fertility journey. I mean, if there were five things, is it's not too long a list, is it?
Oh, I think that's pretty short,
I think it's pretty.
considering that if we did a proper deep dive, obviously you and I could talk about 55 things your naturopath wants you to know. But if we want to start with five, I think we've got some pretty nice little easy wins here.
Easy wins, but with big difference, like I think that that's actually what we want. And I guess what I love about this list that you've put together is they're all very naturopathic because it's about holism. And I think that that's the most important thing about seeing a naturopath for fertility work is that we do work across the whole vibe of your life, I guess.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think that's what one differentiates us from other practitioners that are going to support you in your fertility journey, but it's also what means we can complement all those other practitioners or your fertility specialist as well, because we really are taking a very different and whole perspective.
And with results, which is great. I don't know about you, but there's like a changing of the baby guard for some of my patients at the moment. I've just had a whole bunch of ones being born and a whole bunch of new ones on the way. It's very
Same.
exciting. And is it that
It's
for you?
actually been a lovely first couple of weeks back for the year. Lots of surprise. Actually, we don't need to talk about my cycle this session because I'm pregnant.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it. You can always tell when you pop onto that consult and that woman's sitting there with that particular look on her face, and you
Yeah.
know that they've got it
Yeah.
sorted this
Well,
month.
this week, one of them was bawling her eyes out. I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, it's finally happened. I didn't think it would.
Well done to her and congratulations. And, it's not about, just try harder. It's about making sure that we know what the problems are, that we're fixing them, we're helping people start their families. That's what we love to do. All right, so let's hit this great list of top five things your fertility naturopath wants you to know about you. Is one, small sustainable changes versus big New Year resolution style overhaul. I mean, could
Yeah.
not love this more right now. Could give me a soapbox to rant about this all day. But hit me up with your thoughts on this one.
My thoughts are that when we make small changes incrementally, they become sustainable habits. And that works. That's not just my feeling on it. That's what actually works. And when people start out with these big, massive, 1st of January, I'm going to set the alarm and get up at 5 and go to the gym, and it just falls, it unravels. And I think that's very disheartening. Whereas with small sustainable changes, you are literally setting yourself up for success. You're setting yourself up for that win.
And I mean, it's like we know that putting habit change is really, really hard. And a lot of what we do with our patients is encouraging good habits or just changing, tweaking habits to make their life a little bit better, which it always does in the end, I think. And if you just suddenly have a big list of 1,000 things to change all at once, it's
Yeah.
overwhelming for
Yeah,
one.
do you know what? It is overwhelming. And I must admit that anyone who's ever seen me and anyone who might come in to see me, you have to know I never half-ass it, ever. So I often do give like lists of this, but it's always framed within, let's start with one thing, just one thing a week to just build into your day and your routine and let that settle, find your groove with it, and then let's bring in the next thing.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
just be super cool and smooth with it.
Yeah. And I guess that's frustrating sometimes for people starting a fertility journey or in the middle of a complicated one because there's a sense of urgency that they have to get it
Yes.
done quickly. And
Yeah.
I think always taking that in mind is is always at the front of our treatments when it comes to this kind of work. There is a schedule and a timeline that we're often
Yeah.
working to, but understanding for your best outcomes, like these changes that we're wanting our patients to make aren't just for 6 weeks. They're not. We want that sustainable change. It's going to be there forever, really.
You're absolutely right. Everything we talk about is awesome for fertility, but also for every other day after you've had your baby. So, you and I might talk about getting someone just to start eating breakfast.
My
Like,
favorite thing to talk about. My favorite thing to talk about.
yeah, or just waiting until you have your first coffee after you've eaten. Like, it's just little tweaks. Start to diarize your menstrual cycle. Start to pay attention to where ovulation is even occurring. It's just little things that can make big differences.
Yeah, and not just for fertility journeys, forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Like, moving to chemical-free products gradually as you run out of things. Just swapping to a vagina-friendly lubricant.
Yes.
Like, that's a little thing to do, but can have profound changes actually
Yeah.
for your fertility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So, I mean, I guess, lots of people see naturopaths and they do get overwhelmed with change sometimes. I think that sometimes a profession has a habit to make life more complicated. And one of the philosophies I love here at New Leaf and that I try and live by with all my patients is keep it simple, one thing at a time, because that's where the magic happens, right? So, number one, small sustainable changes versus big New Year's resolutions is the way forward. Great.
Definitely.
Okay, number two, the basics are basic for a reason. For example, food is medicine.
Yeah, totally. The fundamentals are fundamental for a reason. The basics are basic for a reason. And naturopaths always say, you can't out supplement a bad diet or a bad lifestyle. If you're not eating well, if you're not getting some good quality sleep, no amount of ubiquinol is going to make up for that. So yeah, I think the basics, if you want to start with baseline to build on, to build that scaffolding on which might be IVF meds or antioxidants that we might prescribe for you, start out with eating well. Getting some advice on what your diet is looking like at the moment and how we might tweak that to optimize your fertility outcomes.
And I will say, eating well looks different for everybody.
That's so true. Yeah, that's what we don't tell everyone the same. No, every single person isn't going to have the same list of things to eat or
there's not a
time
perfect
to
list
eat
of
or
food that
yeah.
everyone needs to follow. And I think that's, there's a lot of lists of perfect stuff that people should be doing to make their lives easier. But actually, looking at what your individual body needs is so different from the next. And that's what I love working out with my patients anyway, what makes them feel better. And so that's why eating well, just eat well, they say. But actually, what does that mean? It's very
What does that
confusing.
look like?
It's very
Yeah.
confusing for people.
Yeah, it can be confusing. I think that is, we are lucky in our consultation structure. We do have the luxury of time to really run through what's the first thing you're eating and the time that you're eating and go through the day and really understand not only what this person is eating, what they feel like eating, what their appetite is like, what their pantry looks like, what their shopping habits are like, what their work diary is like, just to try and fit in what a good diet, because I'm actually not a fan of good and bad food. Food is one of life's great pleasures, but what a healthy diet might look like for them.
Yeah, exactly. And the other basics, I mean, I guess one of the things that I'm really looking at with my patients at the beginning of the year when they're getting ready for back to work or, recovering from, sometimes people have stressful Christmases is, yes, there's those complicated health pictures that we're working with, but is those basics. What is your sleep like? Are you laughing? Is there any joy in your life? Where's that sort of simple fun that you need
Yeah.
to kind of get through, particularly these long, complicated fertility journeys? You've got to keep some happiness somewhere close by as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Just, if you're not a camping person, that doesn't mean, you can skip out on nature. Nature can just be like looking at a tree or
Yeah.
appreciating a beautiful sunset or something. So I'm a big fan of nature and they're really basic. So yes.
And when you say appreciating the sunset, that's another really simple thing that I think we forget. sunlight and darkness and how important that is for our hormone regulation. Just having that morning light, the exposure to morning light, having darkness when we're sleeping, having sort of lamplight at home after sunset, just for your normal cortisol, melatonin, everything to just have its own rhythm to support your fertility. But this is going to support your energy and your blood sugar balance, your overall well-being.
I mean, going off on a bit of a tangent, but I can't
Let's
help
do
myself
that.
with this one. But it is one of the things that I've been really thinking about and doing some writing on and put some posts up on the journal on the website about is about flow state. Because I've really been thinking about what that flow state is and talking about it with my patients about the barrier of that flow state. And I think that's a very basic thing that we forget. Like we are very all addicted to our mobile phones. We are addicted to communicating, the news, the binge watching Netflix, whatever it is we're doing, we're not giving our brains time to stop absorbing information, And I really think that that is probably one of the most important things that we can all focus on at the moment to help our brains be better and help our health be better is to go, I'm going to have time where I'm not doing anything, or I'm
Yeah,
in the state of doing, creating something that is a focused task. Like
yeah,
the reason I thought about it is because over the summer, much like you, I think, Jack, I get in the kitchen, I cook from recipes, and it's really is that time when I actually kind of just switch off everything,
yeah,
like if I've got a cup of tea there, it'll sit there. I forget to drink the tea even because I'm just
yeah,
chopping and thinking and
yeah,
creating. That's my flow time. But people might listen to music, or they might go for a run, or they might do some crafting. I mean, those are the things I think we need to do it without holding our mobile phone so close to us. Anyway,
yeah,
that's a basic that I think we're really overlooking a little bit at the moment. Anyway.
yeah. I agree, definitely. Yeah.
All right, so number 3, the less obvious things make a crucial difference in your fertility assessment and treatment. Yeah, this is about the importance of that holistic oversight.
Yeah.
Walk me through your thinking on this one.
Yeah. So my thinking on this one is that I see, and you do as well, Hannah, lots of people who are on long fertility journeys and have seen lots of different practitioners, really great practitioners too, fertility specialists, but they're looking at these people's cases through their specialist lens, which is brilliant. And then I might look a little bit more closely and see, do you know what? You've had periodontal disease for like 20 years, and we know what a radical impact that makes on fertility outcomes, placental health, and sometimes making changes to optimize oral health. Like, I'm blown away, actually, the couple of cases that come to mind where that's been a very primary treatment focus. And after miscarriage, after miscarriage, after miscarriage, they've had their babies. These are a whole part of a holistic assessment that complements what these people were doing in the orthodox space. And the other thing I'm also thinking of is the vaginal microbiome. The number of times this comes up as being an issue, and then further investigations might find endometritis, and we do a course of treatment. And then finally, we have the implantation success. So these are things where I think having that holistic perspective, having someone just ask the right questions, like you don't know something's not right unless someone asks you the question.
Exactly. And you might go to your dental checkup and they'll mention it to you, but you probably wouldn't think of that as a reason that you're not getting pregnant,
That's
And
exactly
I
right.
think, yeah, it is. And that is, I mean, I love the time we spend with our patients because it does give us that opportunity to go broad on so
Yeah.
many things.
Yeah.
People are always surprised if they've never seen a naturopath before. They go, God, I've never been asked so many questions about my health
Yeah.
my whole life. So I do love that. Absolutely. So I think it's not to disregard the work and the investigations that other people do, but it's actually
Definitely not.
understanding that when we're looking at complicated or questions around fertility and infertility, we need to do broad brushstrokes
Yeah.
on everything. So love that
So
one.
it's not just looking at some of those less obvious things, but even general preconception care. Just the basics that we spoke about with food and maybe basic supplementation and sleep, that makes a difference to people's fertility journey. And the other thing, Hannah, that I'm a massive, massive believer in is the therapeutic relationship itself. I really think that as part of our holistic assessment and the way we take our cases, I think that therapeutic relationship is healing as well. I really do.
No, I, I, I absolutely believe that too. I think the care that we give and the relation and the trust that we have with our patients is, it's the reason, it's why we do this work.
Yeah.
It's really, it's so helpful for patients when they really feel like someone's got their back. And is curious
Yeah,
about them.
that's right.
I think that
Yeah.
that's if we could have another, if naturopathy was in the dictionary, which it is somewhere, we could put curiosity as a great word to
Yeah.
talk about what we do. And I think this leads us to our fourth point, which is something we could talk for on one topic, and I
On
think
its own.
we should probably do that at some
We
point.
should do that.
Put that on the cards. So, number four of the fifth things that we want you to know about your fertility journey is news alert, people. Male fertility matters.
Big time.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's so good to see this being talked about more in the media, in the news. There's new guidelines for doctors in testing male fertility when it's infertility in a couple. I mean, I could not be more happy to see these guidelines from the government, from the health professionals as well. But it's 50-50, buddy,
It's 50-50.
It's
Like
fifty-fifty.
it's common sense.
It
So
makes
this is such a good illustration. So these new guidelines have come into place to assist GPs in understanding where they should step in for assessment of male fertility, which is actually from the very beginning. Now, I had a couple come and see me recently. Actually, the female partner saw me first. Great, we're doing all this stuff. And then a week later, her partner booked in because he was seeing an excellent GP who from the very beginning organised a thorough semen analysis, and we found some major issues with sperm. Now, if he had never done that, if his GP had not been onto it, I'm not joking, and people out there listening will know that couple would have gone on for 12 months without anyone probably even bothering to look. What a waste of everyone's time.
I know, and it is particularly, when the woman is doing everything she can to make sure that she's doing all the things, and it makes logical sense that her partner or the male donor is doing everything they can too.
Yeah, that's exactly
And
right.
it's frustrating sometimes, particularly when we're seeing women who may have other conditions which make it more challenging for fertility. If we're working with endometriosis or other autoimmune diseases, you know, we want the contribution that's coming into play to be really, really good to kind of help reduce those barriers as well.
Yeah.
So it's,
And that's the other thing is when the female partner does have other layers of complexity going on, it's very easy to just say it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you,
but
which
it's
doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because although the woman is the person that is going to carry the baby through those months, and birth the baby doesn't happen unless egg meets sperm, and that is 50-50 as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Let's male fertility matters,
Yeah. We're
next
putting that
time
vibe out there.
as a deep dive into why it matters. I think that's a great thing to do. And the last one, number five, I love this one because I do think it's really important, not just for people trying to have a baby and fall pregnant, but for all aspects of their health, is you don't have to be perfect to be pregnant.
You really don't. Yeah. And it's so easy when you're in it to be thinking, I'm not doing this right, I'm not doing this right, I need to do more, I need to do more. Um, no one has to be perfect to conceive. We all know people who've conceived who aren't perfect. It's just not, it's a miracle any of us are here anyway. It- it's just a waste of your mental load to be thinking you have to get everything right.
And yes, and what is right? What you see on TikTok? Is it, what your best friend did, or what your, there's no perfect when it comes to things. You've got capacity to the capacity that you have, particularly with changes that takes us back to those small sustainable changes that are sustainable not just for your overall health, but for what your capability is at the time.
Yeah.
Like, where are the reins that you can hold? How much can you change? There's going to be things that you're just going to have to, I guess, roll with a little bit when
Yeah.
it comes to these things. And it doesn't mean you're not going to be perfect. I mean, one of the things that I was frustrated at this week is when, one of my patients who's on a journey for fertility, you know, she's doing amazing, we're getting there. And, she got some advice about don't eat salads.
Okay.
And
That's
don't
interesting advice.
it's interesting advice. And I said, did the person who told you this give you any rationale as to why you shouldn't be doing that? And no, of course not. It's just a blanket rule that, and I understand from different health modalities, cold foods can be challenging for people's constitution. Sometimes it's not to disregard other people's approaches to their health choices. But without understanding how much joy this person is getting from their lives in eating salads for the
Yeah.
first time in their lives because we
Yeah.
fixed her gut health and she can actually eat
Yeah.
salads again. It
Yeah.
kind of disregards one how far she's come in making those sustainable changes, things that she's enjoying eating, and is eating salad going to be the reason that she doesn't have a baby?
That's the thing.
And I think
Yeah.
that that's what I challenge everyone when they hear these advice from wherever it uh, is that the thing that's going to stop you from having a baby?
Mm. Yeah.
And that your brain can tell you all sorts of things at 2 a.m. in the morning that
Oh,
it
it
is.
does. Yeah.
But I think that, practical, you don't have to be perfect approach is just such an important thing for these journeys. So, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that I think that, and if you can enter the journey with that mindset, we probably should have spoken about that first, with that mindset that you don't have to be perfect to be pregnant. I just think everything else will flow more easily anyway. It really will. If you've got that gentleness with yourself, that I don't need to be perfect. I don't have to count every single macro, and I can maybe have a glass of champagne on my 40th birthday. Like, just be gentle
Yeah.
with yourself.
So you're saying we need to reorder this list now. We need to put
Maybe
number
we
five back
do.
number one. Yeah, I think don't be perfect is a good place to
I
start.
think that's a good place to start. I think then everything flows from there.
I think so. All right, so that is some good tips. If you have more questions, reach out to us. If you're interested in knowing more about how Jack can help you, she's got a free webinar that's available on the New Leaf website. I'll put a link in it below, which is great. So you can watch her talk about how she approaches some challenging cases and what she's going to do to help you. But reach out to us at New Leaf. Find a naturopath in your area that's good, or come to us. We're online everywhere across Australia and we'd love to help. But even if you don't see us in clinic, this is good advice for you to do, not just for your fertility journey, but for all aspects of your life. So, Jack, anything you'd like to end on today?
No, I don't think so. I think if people can walk away just taking a deep breath and thinking, I've totally got this, that's a really great place to start.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and look forward to having more chats in the future, Jack. See you
Thanks,
later.
Hannah. See
Bye.
you.